Do you think they handled this situation properly? How do you feel they handled the situation with Daniel Jones?
I think they did. I think they did the right thing after demoting him from first string to fourth string. Like the whole thing with L. Duncan and the farewell, like her making fun of him was disgusting to me because like for a multitude of reasons, but I just felt like regardless of whether or not you've kept up with the Giants and the whole scenario. Okay. Everyone knew he got benched, right? They knew this was the discussion coming out of the bye week. So Daniel Jones, who has been on this team for 6 years, who has close relationships with the players, you've heard Dexter Lawrence and you've heard Darius Lee and other guys, even Malik Neighbors, talk about Daniel Jones in a positive light. So for him to write, this heartfelt note about how, thanking the organization and the fans, et cetera, you know, I kind of feel like regardless of how you feel about Daniel Jones and the whole scenario, like I felt like that was a nice farewell by him and was the right time to do it. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He knew that he wasn't coming back at that point, and he knew that if he asked for a release, the Giants were going to grant it. And I just feel like if you didn't put two and two together, you're just stupid, and like there's no in between. So for her to make fun of him and say that ridiculous thing about like, I can't believe he's making a farewell speech, like these guys eat, sleep, breathe, talk football together. Like they spend more time with each other than I do with my husband, and we live together and work at home like 40 hours a week. Like I don't know. I didn't like the whole thing. I felt like the Giants did the right thing. I know the scout safety thing was overblown, which is fine. I love that Kurt Warner chimed in and was like, it's not that abnormal. But I felt like when they moved him all the way down to fourth string, there was no coming back from it. And I'm just glad that the Giants didn't draw out the circus and say, we're not releasing you. Like, cut him, move on, and now it's not the topic of conversation. Now, do I wish they did it during the bye week? Yes, because then it spiraled into this whole thing last week, which ultimately I don't think made any difference on the Bucs game. I don't think even if they handled it during the bye, it would have changed things. I just felt like you had an entire bye week to make this decision. Like you just maybe shouldn't have waited until it was the week of the Bucs game. Like you could have just dealt with this a week ago and not have.
Yeah, it would have died off 5-6 days before the game. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Anthony, how do you feel they handled the situation? I know you were happy. You were one of the first guys that thought of it. I didn't even he was gone officially.
I think they handled it properly because he requested his release and they granted his request. And like we said, they could have kind of held him hostage if they wanted to, but they chose not to. And his farewell statement was nice. It was kind. But at the end of the day, the Giants, they are running a business. And like we've been talking about on this show since we started and on all of our respective shows for months and months, the injury guarantee clause was a big factor here. And the Giants had to not only do right by Daniel Jones, because he did right by them for 6 years and release him upon his request, but they also had to do right by themselves and protect their future. So overall, I thought their handling of it was just fine. I thought the scout team safety thing was ridiculous. He just stood there for 30 seconds, said, hey, you guys are in the right position, then walked off the field. That's what that really was. He wasn't actually playing safety. So I'm happy as well that Kurt Warner clarified that, and a lot of other people did. The media circus that surrounded the whole situation, I can't say that I'm surprised. I can say that I'm disappointed. It's just annoying how the Giants, they are just low-hanging fruit at this point, and everybody likes to pick it, and that's really what the situation became. But if you really look at it from Daniel Jones's perspective, you knew the time was running out and you wanted to go elsewhere and have an opportunity to compete for a job or learn under a new coach, and now he has exactly that. So I don't think you can say the Giants did wrong by him in any way. If you want to look at the last 6 years and the way that they maybe mishandled the roster, maybe that's doing wrong by him, sure. But in that moment over the past 2 weeks or whatever, I think they handled it just as well as they could have. In fact, I think it was just about perfect from everything that they did from a team perspective and from the perspective of giving him a new opportunity to have a fresh start. So I like the way they handled it. Now, I don't necessarily like the way the players handled it. I get that they want to go to bat for him, but a lot of them seem to quit during the game on Sunday as a result of Daniel Jones's release, and that's kind of the problem.